Hi guys, Laura Clark here. I'm a gold wellness advocate with doTERRA essential oils. And I want to this is something that I've been thinking about doing a video on a while. I finally have an opportunity to do it. I've got some slides to show you. I want to explain to you the difference between traditional savings for retirement and the power of residual income. Once I realized that even in the beginning portions of my business, the beginning years of my business, of growing my business, I had a powerful residual income behind me that was valued. The value of that income coming in on a very regular basis was equal to more than I had in retirement savings. So let's discover this a little bit together, and let me talk about this with you. MLMs have a huge stigma. I completely understand that. I've tried a lot of different direct sales companies, MLMs. My girls were growing up. I tried anything to bring in a little bit of money, from interior decorators to I sold Avon before. Before we moved to the town that I live in now, I did beauty control. I didn't know back then, but those products were highly toxic. Now that I know the things that I know, I am very cautious about what we put on our bodies and what I put on my grandchildren's bodies and what I sell to other people and put on their bodies. So I want to just spout off a little bit and brag a little bit about this amazing company that I'm in now. But mostly the topic of this video is the power of residual income and how quickly you can make it. doTERRA, we call this, the business builders in doTERRA call the opportunity the 4 to 5 year retirement plan. So it took me, I've been an MRI tech for 22, 23 years. I've been in the medical field for 25, but I've been an MRI tech for about 22, 23 years. And I am able to, probably within 5 or 6 years, to build up an income that will replace what took me 25 years to create. I can't teach other people how to go out and be an MRI tech. It takes like 3 years of school to do that. And then you work until you build up that salary or that hourly income. I can't teach people how to do that, but I can teach people how to create a retirement income in about 4 to 5 years. I'm not saying this is overnight get rich quick scheme. It is not. I work this business. I am very, very passionate about health and wellness. I'm very passionate about helping people with pain, especially. That's like my heart passion, is to help people get out of pain. But there's a financial blessing that comes from this too. I help people at work. I'm MRI tech, and I help people that are in pain all day long. And I help them to try to get through a difficult exam. They think it's a difficult exam. And I am rewarded by that, by my company. So now I am one of the marketing mouthpieces for doTERRA. I am also an educator for doTERRA. And because I'm helping people get well and have a lifestyle of wellness, and I teach them how to stop putting synthetics on their children and start putting natural, effective things on their bodies, I am being blessed by my employer or by the person who writes me a paycheck, and that's doTERRA. So I'm not going to go into the compensation plan here, but what I am going to go into is the power of residual income. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's make this nice and big. All right, so you have already learned, if you're an adult and working and saving for your retirement fund, you've already learned the nest egg strategy. Forgive that number 3 up there. I am cutting a bunch of the previous slides of this presentation out. I'm just getting to the nitty gritty here. So the nest egg strategy is what that's made up is. A typical 401k will yield about a 6% return. To figure out how much money you need to retire, you take the annual income, divide it by the return rate, and that is your nest egg. So by the time you are 66 or 60, like, let's see, 62, I think it's 67 for me. By the time you're that age, you will have figured you're by now trying to figure out how much that you need to earn or have saved so that you have at a certain percentage of a return rate, you have this nest egg that once you retire, you're going to be pulling that money out on a monthly or a yearly basis, right? So that's your nest egg. You're working your whole life trying to build up this next nest egg. I've been doing it. My husband and I have been doing it. We're working for decades of trying to build up this nest egg so we can retire. So an example of a nest egg, to generate $60,000 annual. So when you are old enough to retire and you retire and you say, okay, I want $60,000 a year, to get $60,000 a year to draw off of, you need to have $1 million. So at $60,000 divided by 6%, that means that you need to have $1 million saved. So that's kind of, everybody's heard that before. Oh, how do you get $1 million? You need to have $1 million saved to retire. Well, there's some, yeah, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but that's sort of like a quote unquote standard of what people like to have saved, what their goal is to have saved in their nest egg or in their 401k or IRAs or whatever is $1 million. So to generate $1 million nest egg, you need to contribute $2,150 a month for 20 years. This factors compounded returns at 6%. That's sort of a typical, might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less, but we're just going to, for the sake of argument, say 6%. So the total yearly contribution that you would be putting in, that's if you do not have any matching from your employer, really just kind of look at that like bonus total because of inflation, but total annual contribution would be $25,800. I don't know about anybody else, but in raising 4 children and starting with those kids really young and not being fiscally intelligent about retirement when I was younger, I don't have $26,000 laying around out of my paycheck to sock away. We socked away a decent amount, but it's not anywhere near what this is recommending. So a plan to create $1 million asset. So the traditional way here on the left, send $1,000 a month to your retirement savings account. Assume no market downturns. That means there's not going to be any. You're just going to hope for a bear market and not a bull market. I get the two mixed up. But you're going to assume the traditional way, send $1,000 a month to retirement savings account. Assume that there's not going to be any market downturns. Well, you know there will be. Assume that there's not going to be an emergency in your family where you have to draw something off. And you're going to assume a 6% return. You're going to work for 30 of your best years, your healthiest years, your hardworking years for 30 years. And then you're going to finally receive, when you retire, $5,000 a month, right? That's in a really good world. That's in a generous world. That's if you have gotten up to that point where you have $1 million asset by the time you retire. Now on the right, we're going to talk about a better way. And this is happening with people that I know. And it's happening even bigger than this. A better way, you're going to create cash flow asset. So the problem isn't always with savings and with what's in your retirement. The problem is with cash flow. So let's, instead of pushing so hard for savings and for holding on to those dollars, for saving it, we're going to look more at cash flow. So create a cash flowing asset that generates $5,000 a month. It's not, you're not pulling it out of a retirement fund to get the $5,000 a month. You're creating cash flow that's always coming at you at $5,000 a month. And you're going to enjoy the 30 best years of your life. I'm a little bit past that, but let's say if you're somebody in your 20s and 30s, all right? If you would start doing what I'm about to propose to you now, you could retire within 4 to 5 years, maybe a little bit earlier, maybe a little bit later. That's a really good average. 4 years is a really good average. You work this business, you retire at about 4 years. Maybe you retire your spouse also, and you spend the 30 best years of your life doing whatever you want to. And then you continue receiving $5,000 even after you retire. So another thing is too, you can pass this asset on and create a legacy. This is willable income. It doesn't stop when you die, right? Now, if you talked about inflation, when I said, hey, if you're lucky enough to have an employer that matches a decent amount, don't even really count that, because inflation is going to double what's on the left. So if you have an employer, if you're lucky enough to have an employer that matches, I wouldn't even count that towards this scenario, because inflation is going to use that up, if not more. But on the right, the cash flow is constantly coming in every month. So let me give you just a little bit of a scenario. We had family emergency in last winter, and we had some certain things going on, and there was 2 solid months where I was not able to work my doTERRA business. I did some little things here and there. I helped certain members on my team here and there. I handled a BOGO season of a week. But overall, I was not able to get out and be teaching classes. I had a really slow 4 months and a pretty much non-existent 2 months. If I had taken 2 months off of my work, I would have run out of vacation time very quickly. In my scenario, within 3 days. I only had like 3 days built up, but I would have run out of vacation time in at least, at the most 2-3 weeks, right? And then for another 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I wouldn't have gotten money. I wouldn't have gotten paid. So residual income keeps on coming in, even if you've needed to take a break. Those 2 months that I was off work, my income actually grew. So I received the paychecks, even though I wasn't actually putting the work in. I was reaping the benefits of all of my past work and our company's amazing product and our residual income that comes from that. And I was able to spend some quality time and taking care of some family emergencies that I could do. I still had to work my job. I couldn't take time off of that, but I did have to take some time off of my business, but I still got paid. So the problem, like I said, is not savings. The problem is cash flow. Let's talk about how doTERRA creates a $1 million asset. So that is based on an annual income divided by a rate of return, and that equals your asset value. So let's say you are a silver. These are average annual incomes. These are based on 2015 average incomes. It is actually more than this now, but these are averages. So an average silver in the company of doTERRA, it took them about 18 months, you guys, a year and a half to make this income. So if your average annual earnings are $26,600 and you use this formula up above, you have an asset value of $443,333. That's like saying you have $443,333 in your 401k at a 6% return, and you are getting paid an annual amount of almost $27,000. So do you see where I'm going with this? Now look at once you get gold. Gold is like the big honey of the whole thing as far as retiring. Most people retire at gold. I'm a gold, but I'm not making this average yet. So I have not retired yet, but I am close. It took me longer than 27 months because I work full time and I do a lot of other responsibilities besides work. But I've been doing this for going on 5 years now, and I am gold, but I'm not making this income yet. We're predicting that I'm going to be platinum by the end of the year. So things kind of jump. You might work really hard for a season and your growth is a little bit slow, and then boom, you just have this explosion of growth. And that's what's happening right now. I'm having an explosion of growth. And so now look at the average gold income though. If you had $1 million in savings in a 401k and you had a 6% return on that, you would be able to pull out $59,000 a year. So we're kind of getting close to that $60,000, right? Not counting inflation, but gold income is retirement because that money comes in month after month after month. Now this is not even talking about the growth. If I was a gold and I only stayed a gold for the rest of my life, that income keeps growing. I don't have to be a platinum to make over $100,000 a year. I don't have to be that label. The income keeps on growing no matter what my label or my rank is. The income keeps on growing. But you do make more money automatically at different ranks. But again, not talking about the compensation plan. I'm telling you to look at the amazing ability to have residual income. So now once you get to diamond, most people that are making a business in doTERRA, their big goal is to get to a diamond, and that is a $3 million asset. So you can see as the ranks get bigger, of course, the annual earnings get bigger, which means, of course, the asset value gets bigger. So doTERRA creates an asset that produces residual income. Are you following me so far? So let's say you just do one class. So I have some brand new builders. They've just had their first class. They probably spent 5 hours on that class. They probably took some time to send out the invitations, to make some phone calls, to invite people, maybe to make a Facebook event. And then the actual class happened and they enrolled some people. And then they took another maybe some of that 5 hours time to follow up with them, to show them how to use their membership. That's pretty much what running a doTERRA business is that you invite people to a presentation, you perform the presentation, and then after the presentation, you support the people with more and more education, show them how to use their website, their membership. They order on their own. You are not delivering product at all. You're going to see the retention rate in a minute, and you're going to see the beauty of how this works. So 4 or 5 hours, let's say they have one class, and for 5 hours they spent preparing and presenting this class and following up with this class. So that's the time spent, 5 hours, following up, inviting, teaching, and following up. And then at their class, 3 people got a membership. And they got a membership with the smallest intro kit available, and they earned a nice little chunk of $67.50 for that class. That is way below average, but we are using the smallest numbers possible right now for me to make a point. They enrolled 3 people, and if those 3 people next month order 100 points a month, they will also make a $50 bonus. So for $50 a month, that equals $600 a year, because this is ongoing. This keeps on going on. This might change, but this keeps on going on every month. It doesn't stop in 1 month. So they made $600 a year if those 3 people ordered 100 a month. That is like having $12,000 in the bank earning 5% interest. So for some of my new builders out there, Just think about that for a second. I mean, you guys blew your classes away. You had, I mean, you guys have had a lot more coming in than the 6750. You've had multiple enrollments. I mean, some of you have had, I think one of you had 9 enrollments this month. Some of you had 6. Look at what your value of what it is. Yep, you just got this little check this week, and then next month you're going to get this little check. But that's like having $12,000 in the bank for for one class with 3 people that enrolled. That's crazy. That's an asset value. Now this, why we're not including this in this amount here, is because this is not residual income. I'm not going to go into the compensation plan, but they're not even including this. We're talking about the residual income, and that's right here. And this grows and grows and grows. This is just out of one class of what can happen. That one class was worth $12,000. That's amazing. Let's talk about why doTERRA. There have been approximately 40,000 plus direct sales network marketing companies. I've been in some of them. There are only about 9 billion-dollar companies in the United States. We are the fastest company to ever hit $1 billion. The fastest company to ever hit $1 billion did it in 14 years, and that was Apple. doTERRA became a $1 billion company over twice as fast in only 7 years as the fastest company that has ever done it. Okay? So I want you to hear that. doTERRA beat Apple in growth. We became a $1 billion company faster than Apple. Our growth has been covered by Forbes. We're amazing. Like our growth is on the level of Apple and Facebook. Our executives have over 180 years combined experience. We have amazing owners. They are debt-free. doTERRA is a debt-free company. We are growing by leaps and bounds. We are opening up integrative clinics all over the place. We are a global company, and we have only been around for 10 years, you guys, and we are debt-free. Our owners went and mortgaged their houses just to start this company. They were so passionate about doing things better than any other oil company that they mortgaged their houses. They did not take paychecks for almost 2 years. I could tell you a little story about David Sterling, our CEO. He turned down from Donna Karen. He turned down investment money from Donna Karen because she wanted, DKNY, because she wanted 51%. So he turned that down, and they went and mortgaged their houses and started doTERRA. The story behind doTERRA is divinely inspired, you guys. It's nuts. doTERRA will never go public. This is good. You know why? Because the Donna Karens out there with 51%, those stockholders can't control my paycheck. They can't control the product quality. They can't start to cut corners like so many other oil companies did to make them less effective in the long run, right? doTERRA will never sell. This is even better. We can trust our leaders. We can trust our owners. They want not just the best in public health and for wellness and for farmers and for distilleries, but they want the best for their wellness advocates, and that's me. We have the highest retention rate, and that's 75%. If any of you are out there and you are in another MLM and you're probably excited if your retention rate is 10%, right? 8% is typical. 10% to 13% is extremely unusual. And no other direct sales company even comes close to touching a 75% retention rate. I can tell you that the last time I heard the numbers, it's closer to 85% now. Our retention rate has skyrocketed even more than the best of the best. We are one of the fastest growing companies in the industry. The essential oil industry has been around for hundreds of years. And now we are the best and the fastest growing company, not just in the essential oil industry, but in the direct sales industry. We're the largest essential oil company in the world. Last I heard, it was by almost triple the largest essential oil company. So let's talk a little bit about retention rate. And again, why doTERRA? That retention rate is a big deal. The retention rate is what stabilizes my organization and doTERRA's organization. It's the stability, it's the reordering. So an industry standard, let's say these are good numbers. This is for a really good company that has really good retention rate. And they have an industry standard of 10%. So the green is different than the purple because the green represents let's see, make sure I have it's either 3 or 10. Let me think for a second. Let me think. It is a year. So the green represents a year. So you have a new customer, and in their first year, they have purchased again. 10% of them have purchased again in a year. 20% in 3 months. So let's say I don't even want to mention any products because I don't ever want it to appear like I'm picking on another MLM or direct sales company. You guys, you do what you are passionate about. If you're selling something that you believe in and that you love, do that. I'm not picking on any of them. I'm just telling you why doTERRA. Why doTERRA is the best. So let's say you have your own direct sales, you're a direct sales marketer, MLM marketer, and that means that if you enroll 100 people, you help 100 people to get your product, by the end of 3 months, only 20 of those 100 people will order again within 3 months. And only 10 of those 100 people will order again within a year. doTERRA's nuts, you guys. We made it easy for people to reorder. We give them perks for ordering every month. They don't even have to order a certain amount every month, but they order every month. And this is the bread and butter. This is the stability of doTERRA's genius business minds. So our 3-month retention rate, and like I said, last I heard it was 86%. But for the sake of this slide, we're going to say 75%. So if I had enrolled 100 people, by the end of the year, 75 of them will have reordered again. And that's pretty typical for my organization. By the end of 3 months, they have 75 out of 100 people have reordered again. By the end of the year, 65. So maybe a little bit of drop off after by the time the year is over. And then what usually happens is maybe they didn't renew. And then, they come to me and say, hey, I didn't renew my membership. How do I get that renewed again? And then that usually actually gives me an opportunity to move them into another spot in my organization where I can use that volume a little bit better. But that's kind of where I see in my organization where that drop off is just because the year is up. And then again, my percentages, my personal retention rate will go back up again. So let's look at life, okay? So Sam is born. Sam graduates from college, and now he goes on and works for 40 years for someone else. And then Sam's going to get ready to retire at 65, if he's lucky. And then around 80, he's going to die. You guys, this is my life. This is what I've been doing. This is not a sad case scenario. You're living it. I'm living it. All right. I changed my scenario. So his golden years, Sam's golden years, this is where he's going to be spending probably the most money on his health care because he's not feeling good anymore and he's aged. And he's worked his butt off for 40 years, and now he's 65. And by all averages, he will probably pass away when he's 80. So you spend all your money to get your health back between the years of 65 and 80. When you talk to a financial counselor and they talk to you about how much you need by the time you retire, I mean, a huge portion of that is medical. You need $4,500 a month or $54,000 a year that needs to be residual. That means you need to have $1 million saved up. This is just kind of review. $1 million saved up, earning an interest rate of 5%. 98% of Americans retiring today are dependent on Social Security, on their family, on charities, or they're still working, or they've passed away. You see it. You see the cashiers. You see the people at the doors. You see the people in doctors' offices. You see them all over the place, you guys. It's people in their 70s that still have to work because they don't have this retirement. This is where I'm headed. To be honest, this is where I was headed. I'm in my mid to late 50s, just a little bit past mid. I'm just going to say mid because I like it better, but I'm in my mid 50s. And if I have, 10, 15 years left to save, I'm not going to get to that $1 million mark, not at the rate I was going. 2% get it right. 98% don't get it right. 2% of the American population get it right so that they have enough money by the time they retire to have this kind of a outcome. Let's look at what you can do instead. This is what I've done. So only my years started a lot later, all right? So now look at this scenario instead. Sam is born and he graduates and he works from 2 to 4 years on building his pipeline of doTERRA organization. And he has 60 plus years to enjoy his life because he's retired by the time within about 4 years after he graduated. So my 2 to 4 years started over here somewhere, but you can start yours earlier. If you guys are young, if you want to, I'm not going to drop any names here, but I can tell you that some of our largest leaders are very young. You guys, they got it right. They saw this opportunity. They saw how oils blessed their family's life. They saw that there was a way to make money with that and earn income from it, and they jumped on it. And some of them within 2 years retired, and they're raising their small children at home. They've retired their husbands from the military. They've retired their husbands from jobs that they were unhappy at, or their husband just gets to work because he likes it. He gets to do fun stuff for work. He gets to pick and choose what he wants. But these women are retiring early and they're staying home with their babies, and they have so much freedom. Now they have 60 plus years to enjoy their life. And we changed this from 80 to 85 because you're going to have a lot less stress not working 40 years for somebody else, and you're going to die happy. This is the doTERRA way. What's your why? Why would you want to do this? Why do you want to retire early? Why do people always say, I'm not telling you anything new. Nobody wants to work till they're 70 years old. Nobody wants to do that. So why would you want to retire earlier? Why would you want to do doTERRA as a business? To spend time with your kids, to bring your spouse home, just to have peace of mind, even if you continue working. I've been working, but man, I have a lot of peace of mind. I'm getting out of debt quicker. All right, here's get out of debt. I'm getting out of debt quicker because the income I'm working and I have this residual income that we can pay off debt, or we can go on a family cruise, or we can do this, or we can do that. We have peace of mind. We have backup. And even when I have to take a couple months off work, those checks keep coming in. That's an asset that I have built up. I'm building a legacy. By the time I do pass away, my fortune and my residual income is going to be passed down to my kids. All right, they're going to inherit that. I'm building a long-term financial security, and very soon I'm going to be able to quit my job and do doTERRA full time and help bless other people, not just with oils. That's my first passion. That's been my first passion. But now I'm finding out that I can help other people learn how to make money and to get out of debt and to be able to retire and find a new way of life and own their home free and clear and travel the world. I can teach other people how to do that. They can't do that if I teach them MRI. They're just stuck in the same thing like I have been. Do what you want when you want. That's what time freedom is. So I'm going to kind of skip this slide. If you want to know more about how to make the income, how many hours a week it requires, it is a very low cost to make this work for you. I mean, I've looked at franchises before. My husband and I looked at owning businesses before. To own your doTERRA business is extremely inexpensive. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. I can tell you, a year from now, you will wish you had started today. Not because of anything really, maybe because of everything I've just said, but the biggest reason is that you're going to start hearing about doTERRA more and more and more. They are opening up dozens of integrative healthcare clinics all around the country. They've already been covered by Forbes. You guys, doTERRA is a big deal. They're not like any other company that's ever been around. If you wished you had gotten in on Facebook stocks, if you wished you had gotten in on Apple, I used to hear that all the time. Man, I wish I would have gotten Apple stock when it started. So a year from now, it's not going to even be 5 years from now. It's going to be a year from now. You will wish you had started today. So if you want to know more details about how to start a business with doTERRA, reach out to the person that showed you this video. If nobody showed you this video, if you came from me, reach out to me. I can tell you more. I'm always looking for business partners, and you can ask my other business partners. I mean, I do put a lot of heart and soul into helping them succeed. And teaching them how to run a business. And it's not just me, you guys. We have a whole team of people even higher than me that we all help each other. It is the biggest team culture I have ever seen in my whole life. So we help each other succeed. Up, down, cross line. There is no competition. There's a spirit of abundance with this company. There's a huge spirit of opportunity and of being able to bless people. And what I like to say is we bless people with the 5 gifts of doTERRA. Let me stop sharing my screen if I can. The 5 gifts of doTERRA are physical well-being, emotional well-being. There is a gift of social well-being. I have met so many amazing people in this journey in 5 years. It's incredible. I have grown as a person. And so we've got physical, emotional, social, spiritual. Everybody who knows me knows that I'm a Christian. And to grow a business and to do that even while through the struggles of life and through working full time and struggles with different jobs, maintaining a home, taking care of my grandkids, wrestling, dances, everything you can think of. The spiritual aspect of that is I lean on my Jesus big time every single day. Whether I was doing this business or not, I would. But there's a lot of spiritual growth that has come out of this for me. So we've got physical, emotional, social, spiritual. And now what I'm discovering, not just for me, but for helping other people, is the financial gifts, the financial blessings that come from doTERRA. So there's 5 huge gifts, 5 huge blessings that come from this business. So join me on this journey and experience it for yourself. And it won't be long that you're going to be seeing that you're glad, you'll be glad that you jumped in. All right. So reach out to me if you need help with understanding any of this anymore.